Hey there, my name is Lisa. Welcome to my little channel, The Road to Reflection. This is a recording of a Street Epistemology interview conversation where Russ makes the claim that aliens aren't real. Why is Russ 75% sure that there are no extraterrestrials? And what would change his mind? Jodi asks Russ questions to explore his claim. Believe it or not, this is Jodi's very first recorded Street Epistemology interview, and she does a very fantastic job, I'm sure you'll agree. Stick around to the end to hear the group discussion where Russ and some other group members give feedback and share their thoughts about how the conversation went. If you like this kind of stuff, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out. And if you're ever in Salt Lake City, come join our Street Epistemology study and practice meetings. They're super fun. Anyway, thank you for your time and attention today. Off we go. Hello, I'm here today at the Street Epistemology meeting in Salt Lake City, Utah. We are going to have a practice conversation with Jodi and Russ. And Russ has a claim that we're going to ask him some questions on. So let's just go ahead and get started. Go ahead, Jodi.
Hi, Russ. Hi. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your belief, and you and I can maybe take a journey together, and I'll ask you some questions about your belief, and to see where this belief comes from, and why you believe what you believe, because it's always interesting for me, at least, to see how people believe. Is that okay with you? So you have a claim that you'd like to share. What is your claim?
I don't believe that aliens are real.
Okay, so if I understand, would this be correct to say aliens don't exist? Okay. So I'm just going to write that down so I don't forget the core of what we're talking about. And when you say aliens, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Could you just tell me what you mean by aliens?
Any life external to the planet Earth, other than bacteria we might have left on Mars or something like that.
Okay, so to understand this correctly, so anything that's derived from outside the Earth would be an alien, and that living, right? Okay. Tell me the story of how you came to believe this claim.
Mostly science communicators, like when they, astrophysicists or cosmologists, when they talk about the Fermi paradox and what we know, and the overwhelming lack of evidence that there is any technological society other than our own. Basically, science has been looking for decades, and they haven't really found any conclusive evidence that there is life outside of Earth.
Have you always believed aliens don't exist, or has there ever been a time that you believed aliens existed?
Honestly, even now, it's like the universe is too big to say 100% that there are no aliens.
Okay.
We could just be limited in our ability to detect aliens, or, the fact that other galaxies are millions of light years away. So there might be aliens there now. We're looking a million years in the past, so that society hasn't developed from our perspective yet.
So on the, I hear you saying that it may not be 100%, but what's your could you share how confident? Between 0 and 100, how confident are you that aliens don't exist?
I'm going to say 75%.
75%. So could you talk about that 25% a bit more of that doubt?
Mostly, it all just hinges on, what's the saying? Lack of evidence isn't, or absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence, or something like that. It's like, just because we haven't found a complete lack of evidence that aliens exist, again, it's just the universe is just so impossibly huge that it's impossible to say conclusively that there are no other civilizations out there.
I I hear a couple things from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear you mention technology or civilization. So is that part of the definition of aliens, that they would have a civilization, or they would have that they would have technology? Or could aliens possibly be things like bacteria, or a plankton, or other living creatures that haven't evolved yet to civilization, in your opinion?
Well, you definitely could broaden it to any sort of microbacterial life, microbial life, or whatever. And obviously, science is in the process on that. Like, that's a big part of what the James Webb Space Telescope is doing, is trying to detect the molecular evidence and the spectral evidence that molecules that we know only come from life exist, and then through a process of elimination, say it's like what else could possibly create that? What was the molecule they found on Venus in the cloud cover at Venus? Like they found the spectral fingerprint of something that we thought only came from life, but they keep going back and forth. It's like, well, there may be a geological process that creates that we don't fully understand yet.
Is there, if you look at your let's say the different beliefs that you have, are there some beliefs that you think that you may have that you believe in stronger, but there isn't evidence for?
Like outside of the
Outside of aliens. So I'm exploring your belief process, or your beliefs without evidence, and I'm wondering if this is typical of some of your other beliefs, or do you typically need more evidence to believe things too?
I mean, you definitely can, like we were talking about earlier. Everyone's perception of reality is just a little bit different. Like you may have thought you saw a flying saucer, but it was really, just a video glitch. Something about the camera gimbal made it look like there was an object flying across, but it was really just an optical illusion or something like that. So it's like, I think that definitely can apply to all kinds of supernatural things. Like if someone sees Bigfoot, like did they really see Bigfoot, or were their eyes playing tricks on them, and they thought they saw something out of the corner of their eye, but they couldn't actually, catch it on camera or whatever. Like there was no hard evidence that they could share with other people. So it's like the supernatural ghosts.
What would have to happen for you to change the scale so that you are perhaps 75% confident that aliens exist?
The process of science. It's like once they say like, hey, we think we found evidence that there may be life here, so we're going to continue to investigate that and see if we can find more and more evidence. So it's basically, I think there will be a tipping point where they say, we've got enough evidence now that we have a 75% confidence that there are aliens, and I'll just kind of take their word for it, I guess.
Because I think there are some scientists out there who do say and are very confident that alien life exists. And there's others who say alien life does not exist. So there's this, should I keep going? There's this debate within the scientific community. Why then some scientists and not others?
I suppose it's based on my own biases. Like, I haven't seen anything that has really convinced me that aliens do exist, and I have seen enough evidence that people are highly susceptible to their own biases and may jump to conclusions about things like aliens. So it's kind of more based on, I think it's highly likely that the people that do believe in aliens or think they saw aliens or think they had an abduction might have been hallucinating, or they might not have understood what they were looking at, or like they're jumping to conclusions based on their own desire to believe that aliens exist. So really, it's more of my lack of faith in humanity.
That was good. Any comments or suggestions for Russ or
You
Jodi?
both sounded like you knew what you were doing. You said you've been here 5 or 6 times, but have you been here before?
I've been here twice before.
Oh, okay. So you both kind of knew what to do. Okay.
But I spend most of my time watching Science Communicator YouTube. It's like, this is what I do for fun.
The move that you made at the end as time ran out, I thought was a really smart move, because a thing that people tend to hinge a lot of belief on is like they appeal to authority. And if you can take authority and go, well, some authority says this and other authority says this, it's entirely contradicting. So what is your basis for believing in one of these authorities versus another? I think is like, it's a really strong move.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say good job on that.
Oh, thank you.
I was like, oh, I see where that's going. Good.
Yeah, that was a really good question, I thought.
It would have to be their specific area of expertise. It's like the appeal to authority fallacy, if memory serves. It's like, you're an expert in microbiology, you have a PhD, therefore you must also know about space.
Yeah, well, the thing about asking things in that way, like that form of questioning, though, like it stems back to like Plato and the Euthyphro specifically, where Socrates is asked at the courthouse, and someone is like, he's like, oh, I've been sentenced, I'm being tried with, corrupting the youth and blah, 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 blah. I don't know what to do, but I'm here for that. And, oh, you're like, the son of this priest. Like, why are you here? You're like, son of this priest and so wise and stuff. Like, why are you at the courthouse? Like, it's, gives some sort of a story. It's like, oh, that's so smart. That's so wise. How did you become so wise? So on and so forth. And the guy's like, well, wisdom and justice is like what the gods say is wise and justice. And Socrates is like, well, some of the gods say this, and some of the gods say this.
Right.
And if they contradict each other, then, it can't be both just and unjust, or wise and not wise. So what do? And the guy doubles down, and it's like,
say that?
yeah, exactly. And
It's like, who told you that the gods said that?
it is an old move, but it's a really good move.
But it also can be applied to science too. If you
Yeah.
are just like, well, Neil deGrasse Tyson said this, therefore I'm just going to go with that. Like, also not a good reason to
Yeah.
believe. So
No, for sure, because
just an appeal to some authority figure.
yeah,
So
and you can, like I think you're implying, it's like you can go like, okay, but like, why are you giving such gravity to Neil deGrasse Tyson's claims over like all these other scientists?
yeah,
So,
and you have to weight each one separately and then kind of come up with your own conclusion, right? What were you going to say, Jodi?
And this was really hard for me because I don't know much about aliens at all. And
You don't have to. You did
and
great.
I don't
Yeah.
and I think I don't
Just have to
know
know
how
how to
you
ask
feel
people
about the
questions.
discussion, but
Yeah.
we had it was very interesting for me to.
Yeah, I went into it knowing that like I was on the fence about the topic in the first place.
Did anybody's mind change? Like, agreed with Russ in the beginning and then disagree? No? Did your confidence level change at all?
Not really, no.
So it's still at 75%.
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure that like we would have found some kind of evidence by now. But
Well, in another 6 million years, we'll actually see it.
right. But it's like, well, there could be other explanations that I haven't even possibly considered. So it's like there's still a lot of room for.
It was interesting to me is the claim was unpacked that it shifted from, like, I believe that aliens don't exist to I'm fairly confident aliens don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that just unpack was like, yeah, okay. I see where like rating this stuff is like useful.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't ever put a number to their belief system. It feels weird and just don't ever think of it kind of in that numerical confidence way.
Yeah.
But really each claim that we're presented with, we kind of can look at it and say, okay, I'm not really convinced that that's true. I'm at a 2% of belief that what you just said was
Okay, now
convince
that
me otherwise.
Now that you're asking me for evidence, I can't really think of evidence, so I probably should change.
Yeah, should I lower my confidence because I don't really have any good reasons for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I almost forgot the rating thing, but I think that's so integral to this process, is getting that scale. And you actually brought it up about something about I'm not 100% sure, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I can ask about the
Yeah, and we follow the list. It's just kind of a vague guideline to
Yeah.
follow. Like, is the confidence scale even on there? I don't.
It says the clarify confidence
Oh,
level.
it is, okay.
I think, which
Yeah,
scale?
good job. Okay, stopping.